What's happening, everyone? Hope you're doing well. I have a really cool video today that I'm uploading, but before I get into that, I want to take a moment to plug the International Herpetological Symposium for 2025. It's taking place June 18th through the 21st in Fort Myers, Florida. So the International Herpetological Symposium has been going on since 1976. So this is actually the 47th symposium. So, what the symposium endeavors to do is to disseminate information in this annual forum in research, everything from conservation biology, captive management, propagation. And this is all on the website, by the way, which I'm going to include a link to. And to essentially build a community of folks every year that can network and can share best practices and really educate themselves as well as others. And so I'm really excited to be a part of it. They actually asked me last year to go and be a presenter. It was in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was bummed I couldn't make it. I was actually traveling abroad, but this year I'm able to swing it. So I'm really excited to go down and be a presenter and be a part of this really cool symposium. So every day of the symposium, there's going to be different speakers talking about reptiles and amphibians, different topics, really going to be super interesting. I'm very excited to go down and listen to some of this. I'm actually presenting on Saturday the 21st in the Advancing Herpetoculture sessions, and I'm going to be talking about paludarium building, not a surprise, and stream salamanders. So think spring salamanders, red salamanders, things like that. But my presentation should be about 20 or 30 minutes, but I'm really psyched to see the other folks too and learn a lot and make some really great contacts along the way. So I highly recommend, if you're able to, if you're in the area, if you live there, check it out and you're into this. It doesn't happen all the time. It's a really great opportunity to network with like-minded folks. So let's just dive right in here. This is the Sphagnum Bog, and I'm going to be doing a salamander unboxing today, I've got several captive bred salamanders. They're all subadults, which will go into the Sphagnum Bog, which I built, I can't remember how many months ago now, but it has been running for a while. It has been growing in nicely. Everything is doing well, and most of the moss has taken off, particularly the sphagnum moss. Based off of some comments from the breeder, I added some more land using some flat stacked stone and added some more moss, some more substrate, and some ferns just to get a better terrestrial footprint in here, just because they are subadults, and I was very focused on where they breed and made it a little too aquatic, so I had to modify it. But as you can see on top, it's a little drier, and there's some microhabitats in case the animals want to osmoregulate. And so I think that this setup will now do nicely to give them a very decent footprint to explore and to be spread out and not be on top of each other. They are relatively small amphibians, so I'm not too worried anyways. But as you can see, even the liverworts and moss, it's just taken off in all corners here. I've got decent humidity. I've got a little computer fan. I've got the mist kings going off twice a day, and I've got a nice secure lid, which keeps in humidity, but also have enough holes. And like I said, the fan, so enough ventilation, which is keeping the moss nice and hydrated. As you can see, the water is pretty crystal clear. It's done phenomenally well. The moss is kind of growing everywhere. There's water movement, which is great. So I think I've got a nice environment in case these animals ever do want to breed. Again, not that that's my goal here, but I do think overall it's a nice ecosystem or mini ecosystem that I built. I think it's really important to let some of these enclosures go for a while before you add anything. Obviously, even if you have beneficial bacteria and things like that already, I just think it's good to see how they establish before you kind of dump animals into them, and just make sure that everything seems kind of in order. And like for instance, I had some plants and some other things die initially on the top of the enclosure, and so I realized it was always just going to be drier up there, so I added some more leaf litter and some other hides for the animals just to kind of see how it kind of would evolve. And it really helped me in kind of planning the animals to add into this. And so you ask yourself, what did I get? Some of you had some good guesses, and some of you were correct, some of you were not correct. But this is the breeder's box that he sends them in with some cool pads and everything, like the cool packs, excuse me. And these are four-toed salamanders. Hemidactylum scutatum, I don't know. I'm so bad at these Latin names. As you can see, they are really small little guys. There's 4 of them in here. These are actually native species of salamander to the state where I live, and I am allowed to own them, particularly as they are captive bred as well. This is this small 5-gallon that I have them in now, that I'm putting them in once I get them, and I'm going to let them kind of get acclimated to the bacteria in the substrate of the tank, and we will go from there and put them in for several weeks and let them eat and kind of get acclimated, like I said, and then we will add them to the new enclosure. All right, it's a few weeks later, and I've removed most of the substrate from this 5-gallon aquarium that I had them in as a quarantine tank, and they're very, very small, and it's very, very difficult to pick them up, and I was having a hard time picking these guys up to get them in there into the tank. And unfortunately for one of them, I was unable to film it because I was more worried about him squirming out, and he made a beeline for the back of the tank, as you can see, but I got him in there safely, which is the most important thing, not necessarily the footage of me putting it in with a glove. That's not that interesting. But anyways, got the second one in here. As you can see, really beautiful animals. Really excited to see how they do in here. And they are, going and hiding like they typically do. I'm gonna pop this third one in, and they will find all these little hides that I made in here for them, which will also make it very difficult for me to really find them if I have to, but I'm getting better at doing that. I almost make them too realistic, and sometimes it's hard. And then just putting the last one in now. So you can see how tiny they are. These guys are really, really small. It's like 1.5 inches, 2 inches, not even. And they're small species anyways, but I think fairly robust. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they acclimate, grow, and we'll see if they start to come out. I did notice that the fan was drying things out a little too much in here, unfortunately, so I turned it off. So hopefully it'll get a little more humid. It's still going to be dry on top. But it was browning some of the moss. I also dumped in a bunch of Heidi fruit flies for them. As you can see, they're all over the place. And these should act as a really good food source. They're small, a lot of nutrients. I'm not really dusting them yet. I don't want to overload their system with things at this point, but I just want them to eat. And this is it. They're in here. I've got the lid on. It's a nice tight lid, and I really appreciate you all tuning in, and look forward to making some more builds and going out and looking for some animals. And don't forget to, if you can, check out the International Herpetological Symposium at the end of June. And thanks again for tuning in. Thanks.